Hey guys, and welcome back to more Magic the Gathering lore. Today let's continue the 13 Nights of Magic, a series dedicated to the creepy crawling critters of MTG. And in today's video, we have something that'll really send shivers down your spine. You know that feeling of pure dread? An almost unmovable state of fear where all the color leaves your skin? People say it's like you've seen a ghost, right? Well, that's because most lingering spirits are just downright scary. Although not all intend to do us harm, there's still something unnerving about the dead coming back to haunt the living, a trope that seems to have made its way into MTG as well. Let's take a look at some of the scariest spirits and altruistic apparitions found across the multiverse. Good or bad, these are spirits in Magic the Gathering. As you could probably guess, ghosts in Magic the Gathering are fairly similar to how we see them in real life, if you believe that is. They're usually the spiritual essence of a person who had died but refused to pass on to the afterlife for one reason or another. As the spirit lingers in the world of the living, it usually sets out to accomplish something which was left unresolved during life, or it can stay on to haunt those who have disrespected that person in a time of great need. Since spirits are the essence we leave on after we're gone, they can vary dramatically in purpose and temperament depending on a lot of various factors. If we take this notion of spirits and apply them across all of MTG, you'd think that ghosts in Magic would follow a similar pattern. But remember, this is MTG we're talking about, and different worlds have different rules, resulting in some extreme differences in how the dead return to the world of the living. Let's look at Innistrad, for example, a plane almost characterized by its interaction with the undead. On a world so dark, spirits have a stronger than normal presence here, meaning they're capable of much more than mere hauntings and meager pranks. On Innistrad, ghosts are referred to as Geist, more clearly reflecting their chaotic and mad natures. They're still the lost souls of those who have died on the plane, but return because it failed to meet a state of rest, usually resulting from an inappropriate burial ritual. Geists are most prevalent on the coastal province of Nephalia, where the deep fog which rides in on the waves typically means the arrival of new spirits. As a result, many fishing villages have learned techniques which repel and calm angry souls, but little can be done if they venture further inland. While most tremble at the idea of interacting with a Geist, there are those who make their home on the shores who welcome the fogs. Innistrad's mad scientists, Geist Catchers. These intellectuals, such as Ludwig, actually capture Geist to use in their experiments, using their strong energy to power unspeakable machines. It's a messy job, sure, and they best hope one of their guests don't break free. Like most worlds, spirits on Innistrad aren't solely good or evil. There's a mix depending on whose soul has returned. While many blue-aligned Geists are cold and inhuman, those aligned to white mana are seen as protectors and guardians of the living, the greatest example of this being the Geist of Saint Traft. Traft was a deeply spiritual Cathar during life who gained the favor of the angels on Innistrad. After his unfortunate death at the hands of a demon, his spirit returned to the world in order to continue his campaign against the dark and evil beings who inhabit this world. As in life, the angels continued to follow the call of this spirit, turning this Geist into a true guardian of the living. Other planes like Ravnica take spirits in a whole different direction. Ravnica's a strange case because the ghosts of the dead don't wander off into an afterlife, but kinda just linger on the plane itself. For most of the plane's history, the dead remain just as they did in life, walking the streets and filling the sky with spectral energy. They even had an entire district dedicated to them, known as Agaram, which was overlaid right over top of Ravnica itself. Spirits on Ravnica are typically white or black aligned, thanks to their involvement with the Orzhov Syndicate, the corrupt religious organization of Ravnica. They pretend to be pious and spiritual, but they're driven by greed and monetary wealth more so than anything else. As a leading banking institute, the Orzhov have ways of making a return on their investment even if you die. They'll bind your soul to servitude until you pay off your debt. The Orzhov itself is run by spirits, known as the Ghost Council, great members of the Syndicate who have died yet continue to pursue their selfish interests. But times have changed on Ravnica since the mending occurred across the multiverse, and Agram, the spirit district, was disattached from the plane. The ghosts are free to venture into the afterlife, or stay put to skulk around Ravnica, much like other planes. The fate of Agrum is unknown. It seems to have splintered off, forming a distinct metaplane from Ravnica, a world full of only the dead. Fiora is another plane where the ghosts of the dead can be forcibly bound to the world of the living, as such a fate would befall the late king of the High City, Brago. As he lay dying, his spiritual advisors chose to bind his spirit to the physical world so that he could continue to rule even after death. Ghost King Brago became a figurehead, manipulated by those seeking personal power, but, for a time, a ghost controlled all the people of Fiora. Other planes see spirits in a whole different manner, not as the lingering souls of the departed, but as forces of nature, such is the case on the world of Kamigawa. This plane is heavily influenced by the interplay between the mortal and spiritual world, which are separated by a thin veil of reality. The spirits here are manifestations of natural forces, referred to as kami or great spirits. They have come to represent the forces of the elements, as well as the unfortunate fates of those who've died in the mortal world. And the final plane I want to talk about in reference to spirits is the world of Tarkir, a plane whose spiritual side is governed by shamanistic nomads and dark necromancers. Leaving out the whole timey-wimey nonsense for a moment, let's focus on the Abzan tribe and their connection with their ancestors. The Abzan are a nomadic tribe led by their Khan, Anafenza, who's not only their fiercest protector but also their spiritual leader. The Abzan practice a type of necromancy which allows them to bind the spirits of their ancestors to the sap found in certain trees in their desert territories. These kin trees act as anchors which tie the souls of the dead to the world of the living, usually standing as literal family trees for many of the houses in Abzan society. Anafenza is bound to a special kin tree which now holds the spirits of all former Abzan Khans. These souls come to grant wisdom and guidance, but also attack those who seek to do the Abzan harm. Since we're forced to discuss the whole time travel business, the dragons of Tarkir were saved from extinction and the ruling Waste Dragon Lord was Dromoka. Anafenza never became Khan, but still practiced this ancient rite of her people, an act Dromoka saw as a perverse form of necromancy and an insult to the order of life and death. Dromoka executed Anafenza, whose spirit then returned to a kin tree, continuing the legacy of her people. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about Tarkir at all is because it gave us one of the most powerful quote-unquote ghosts in the entire multiverse, the spirit dragon, Ugin. Ugin started life as a physical dragon who, after igniting his planeswalker spark, managed to craft his own form of energy manipulation magic. While on his home plane of Tarkir, Ugin was brought into a physical confrontation with his rival, the evil dragon Nicol Bolas. While Nicol Bolas managed to defeat Ugin, leaving him to die, the dragon's spirit refused to leave the world and instead embedded itself into the mind of another planeswalker, Sarkhan Vol. With the ghost of the long-dead dragon guiding him, Sarkhan Vol unlocked the magical essence still resting in Ugin's bones, traveled back in time, and changed history forever. Ugin awoke as the Spirit Dragon, a force not really physical yet still living, a ghost of time. If you consider this dragon as being a spirit, then he's certainly the most powerful ghost in all of Magic the Gathering. And that's a good chunk of information concerning spirits and ghosts in MTG. I know I left out a few key planes, but I think you all get the idea behind this dearly departed tribe. As a reward for this 13 Nights of Magic video, you can now enter for your chance to win a copy of Geist of St. Traft from Innistrad. All you have to do is be a subscriber to the channel, leave a comment on this video, and if you're feeling really generous, share it with your friends. If you enjoyed the video, please do everything mentioned anyway. It really goes a long way in supporting future content. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.